Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing another pick a card. So today's pick a card is a collaboration with the lovely Kundalini candle, and we wanted to bring through messages from the mermaids, messages from the water spirit. So that's what we're going to be doing. On my side of the channel, I'm going to be tapping into messages from the water spirits to help you connect to your internal flow. So what I mean by that is I wanted to bring through any guidance and messages that can better help you connect with your emotions, activate your emotions, feel through your emotions, and just allow them to flow. As I tend to find sometimes, especially when we're doing our healing journey, we try to make sense of everything. We can sometimes overanalyze instead of feel, or we can compartmentalize instead of feel. So this video is to really focus on feeling them and give gifts and messages on your emotions and what may be hiding from you as well, and what may be blocking that flow. Yeah, so this is going to be my part over on this side, and then I'll have the link in the description box so you can head over to Candle's channel and you can watch her video if you haven't already. So I have three objects, shells, crystals for you guys to choose from. Pile number one is the Ocean Jasper. Pile number two is the, I'm going to call it the Swirly Shell. That's what we have for pile number two. Pile number three is the other swirly shell, as I don't know the name. But that's what we have for pile number three. So see which shell, which crystal you are drawn to. The timestamps are going to be in the description box as usual. And also just thank you, Candle, for collaborating with me and working with me on this video. So yeah, click the timestamp and I'll see you guys at your reading. Hey Pawan, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance and messages the water spirits have for you. So you guys chose the Ocean Jasper. I'm going to start with tarot and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. So spirit guides, tap me into the collective of my pile number ones, please. Tap me into the collective of my pile number ones. Tap me into the collective of my pile number one. Guidance and messages from the water spirits for my pile number ones to connect them with their inner internal flow. Pile number one, please. Pile number one. We have the Page of Wands. Pile number ones, please. We have the Five of Wands. Pile number ones, please. Pile number ones. We have the Knight of Swords. Guidance from the water spirits for my pile number ones, please. We have the Ace of Swords. And we have the Lovers, but I'm going to have to cover this one up. There we go. That should be okay. We have the Lovers. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Four of Cups, which I'm also going to cover up just in case, because you never know. So Four of Cups at the back of the deck. Okay. Page of Wands, Five of Wands, the Knight of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Lovers. Okay, the first thing that I'm being shown is like a wheel. So I'm being shown like a wheel turning and turning and turning. And I feel like the more it's turning, I feel like I'm unraveling. That's basically what I'm being shown. You know, like, I'm sure in the UK we call them like winders. I swear you guys, like in America and stuff, call them like fruit roll-ups. You know when it just like unwinds? That's what I'm being shown. So I'm being shown something unraveling. And I feel like that's you guys. I feel like you guys are my pile do a lot of maybe inner work, or you're my piles that are constantly ever growing, because I keep being shown a tree just growing and growing and growing and taking on different forms, right? That's what I'm being shown. And I feel like you guys are always meant to be that way. I feel like you guys are always meant to be in that essence where you're constantly adapting, constantly growing, constantly shifting. And I feel like sometimes it's not so much like you don't feel your emotions, but I feel like when there's like a blockage in terms of like what you want to express in this moment and what you want to create in this moment and how you want your energy to flow, when there's a blockage there, I feel like the way I feel, it's almost like my stream has kind of like disconnected. Let me explain what I mean. So now, for example, you guys have like positioned yourself in a way where you are somebody that's like very sporty, very grounded, very rooted, very connected to the physical body, and you've worked hard at that. You know all there is to know. you're somebody that's constantly growing. So once you kind of like tick that off your list, once you've kind of, from an energy perspective, reached 100%, naturally you are going to grow beyond that. You are going to evolve beyond that. And what's going to happen then is new energies are going to come in. And let's just say, for example, then you've been so rooted and grounded, then you start connecting to spirit and being super open and allowing things to flow through, and, you know, things are getting a bit whimsical. But you may then have those blockages of like, but wait, I need to stay in this position. I need to stay in this rooted, grounded position. I need to stay in this, you know, fitness, body, logic, like all of that. I need to stay in that energy. And because that energy within you is wanting to create, it's wanting to move forward, it's wanting to adapt, it's wanting to flow, because I feel like you're very creative. I feel like you're not somebody that fits in a box. If you were to maybe listen to other people's projections of you've got to stay in that box, or you restrict yourself to that one kind of avenue, I feel like that's where the stream that I'm being shown, this water, this flow, that's where the stream kind of gets a rock in the road. Because I feel like you guys, even when you guys like move towards an occupation, or you move towards a career, or even if you're like designing a home, I feel like one aesthetic, one size, one genre, if let's say you were making music, one size doesn't fit you. I feel like you're meant to paint with all the different colors. And I feel like you guys specifically are my creators. I feel like you guys are very creative. I feel like a lot of you guys connect to your emotion through expressing yourself, expressing yourself through clothes, makeup, hair, expressing yourself through art, paintings, music. That's how you connect to your emotions. I feel like when you guys listen to music, when you guys create, when you guys you know, you go out and you buy your vinyls or your CDs or whatever it is that you buy, when you guys go out and buy clothes, I feel like you express yourself through that. And I feel like when you guys aren't able to do that for whatever reason, that sometimes creates a block for you, because it's almost like that energy isn't funneling out, that energy isn't flowing out. And I feel like that sometimes can make you feel, I'm being shown like a little bit of depression, but I almost feel I'm being shown water, but like still water. It's kind of like a swamp. That's kind of like how it feels. Because I feel like the more you create, it's like your energy is being exerted out. Your energy is like flowing out, is what I'm being shown. So the way Spirit's mentioning, I hope this is making sense. I'm going to keep going deeper anyway. But I feel like the message here is the way that you guys connect to your emotions is connect to that inner flow is by creating and allowing all these beautiful aspects of you to have a place, like have a place on the shelf. Like the shelf isn't just meant to be, let's go with like styles, your shelf isn't meant to be just kind of like gothic and you tap into the darker side. It's also meant to be all fluttery and pink and flowy. It's also meant to be more masculine and leaning into that, and more foresty. I hope this makes sense. I feel like there's so many aspects to you. You've evolved so much. You keep evolving. I feel like you unlock, I'm hearing like choose your character. So I feel like you guys unlock so many aspects to yourself, and I feel like what keeps those emotions flowing and what keeps your internal flow going is giving a space to all these aspects of you and not just putting yourself in one specific box. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you could be super logical and into the physical body and looking at it that way, but when there's a call in to connect to that more spiritual side and that more flowy side, or that deeper emotional side, and move with that, that's where you're being called to give it that energy. I hope that makes sense. I feel like when you guys feel like you're stuck in a box only doing one thing, that's where you start to feel restricted, because there's all this extra energy that moves through you anyway, and it's almost like I don't know where to go, and I start to feel a bit, I'm sure the word's discombobulated, like I kind of don't know, it's like the energy's there but I have nowhere to kind of put it, if that makes sense. I feel like you're here to create, and even if it's not just like literally creating in this moment, it could be just like listening to music, and like sometimes you can listen to music and like create a scenario to that song, you know what I mean, or just like watching movies and getting inspired by that. I feel like you express and you work through your emotions through movies, through music, through books, you know what I mean, through art, through like TV shows and things like that. When you like connect to a character and it's like, I'm connected to this character right now because they're going through this and I'm connected. Basically, I was watching a YouTube video the other day. It was Ariana Grande. She was talking about Glinda, and she was talking about how she relates to Glinda the most. Something to do with like, I've never watched Wicked, by the way, but it was something to do with like Glinda feeling like a lot of pain because she'd lost her friend, but then having to keep singing for like the Munchkins and the People of Oz and stuff, and she was saying she felt really connected to that character because it kind of like her life at one point. I feel like you guys do that as well. I feel like you guys connect and it's a lot to do with the inner child as well, connecting to movies, connecting to TV shows, connecting to art and music, anything where you can express that outlet and give that part of you that's growing, evolving, or maybe even purging at that time, giving it an outlet to express itself. You guys are creators. I feel like you're naturally very creative. I feel like you're naturally souls that I feel like you're here to, I want to say literally create, but I feel like you're here to inspire. You're probably that part I talk about, that where you're connected to the sun, and I feel like you're meant to inspire and be creative. And when we think of the sun and the rays and they activate the flowers, I feel like that's you guys. I probably said that to you in another video, but I feel like that is you guys, and I feel like you're here to kind of put your essence into the world and create. And I feel like that's going to change over time, connecting to like the different outlets and the different aspects of you. I hope that makes sense. But putting yourself in one box, I feel like, or just feeling like you have to look at it in a certain way because that's how you've been looking at it for some time, I feel like that can restrict you. And I can also see confusion then, you know what I mean? I can see confusion because I feel like you're meant to look at it through the different, I'm hearing colours of the wind. By Pocahontas, can you paint with all the colours of the wind? I feel like you're meant to try out different things and adapt and grow and evolve and try out, you know, tap into the different energies that come through. And I feel like sometimes, like say now for example, you guys have been super connected to spirit, there may be a side to you that's like wanting to connect to like the more earthy, even you know the more earthy things. Like you could be being drawn to like connect to like fashion, or connect to, you know, I'm trying to think of things like from a logical perspective or like an earthy perspective. Like you could be like, okay, I want to get like my physical body where I want it to go. I want to start collecting you know, makeup, or I want to start whatever it is, right? And then that could contradict where you were before, where it's like, I don't care about any of that, I just want everything to flow. But the reason you're being called there, the reason you're being drawn there, the reason you're wanting to jump into those waters and you're having that urge is because there's something there. When we're drawn into a specific energy, or we're drawn to a specific kind of style or music or whatever it is, it's usually because within that energy there's what I like to call like a little breadcrumb, like a little diamond that is waiting for you to grab hold of it so it can activate something within you. And I feel like when you ignore that calling and you don't allow that version of you, that space to grow and kind of what's the word that I was trying to look for then? There was a word in my brain and it's gone. When you don't give yourself that version of yourself that room to kind of play and grow in that energy, I feel like that's where sometimes it can block your flow. I think your biggest thing here is play and creating. And some of you guys may even feel like, I struggle with connecting to my emotions and just sitting there and feeling them, but it may be because you're looking at it from an analytical way of like, I have to sit and just feel this. Whereas I feel like you guys actually are quite good at feeling your emotions. You just express it in a different way. It's expressed through art and creativity and music and movies and books and TV shows and even like eras of your life or aesthetics in your life. Like that is how you guys connect with your emotions and allow them to take form and play. Because I'm being shown like a dollhouse and it's got different rooms, and one room is, let's say, coquette. We'll go with what I have here. We have coquette. Then the next you know, room is like grungy, you know what I mean, like grungy and like rock or whatever. And then the next room is like earthy. Like all of the rooms have these different styles because they're different aspects of you that you've opened up and tapped into, you know what I mean? Because we forget as well as human beings, even like, because I feel like this blends into your career somehow, because you guys may be creative in your career, it wouldn't shock me, and this can blend into like our career, because sometimes we forget as human beings, like we're not, even though we're on social media and we can, you know, have like a jewelry company or a book company or a clothing company or whatever it is that we're putting out there, even if we're just on social media, we forget as we're human beings, we're not like marketing tools, and we don't have to stay in one box too, you know what I mean? We can change it up and add all different things in there. There's no rule to just stay with one niche, you know what I mean? And that's what's coming through here as well. Like, you're being called to like add all these flares in and give them an outlet. But that's how I feel you connect to your emotions, and that's how I feel you connect to your internal flow, is through creating, allowing your inner child, or allowing these inner pieces of you to take form through creativity, through music, through art, through style, through home decor, through everything. I feel like that is how you guys connect to your emotion and tap into those sides of yourself. Because I feel like you become it then, and the more you see it, I feel like you lean into that, and I feel like it activates those parts of you, you know what I mean? Like, you could, for example, be connected to like let's just say rock music, let's just put it that you guys could be connected to like rock music, or like that style, like a rock style, right? And then you go and buy like certain albums or whatever, and you listen, and what happens is through that music or through that style, there's a part of you that's been activated, that needed to be activated. It needed to see that specific movie, or it needed to hear that specific song, because it needed like to take on that form and listen to those lyrics, or allow that energy to flow out, to kind of grow and evolve and to flow, basically. I hope that makes sense. Because we're drawn to movies, TV show styles, eras for a reason. There's usually a little diamond there, and I feel like that's how you connect to your inner internal flow, through play and through creativity, and through finding inspiration as well. I feel like they help you pass you know, certain emotions through. Yeah, so I feel like when you're struggling with your emotions, or you're feeling a little bit confused, you don't know where to go, I would like meditate or listen to your inner child, connect to your inner child, or even just sit quiet and ask yourself the question, what do I want to do right now? Like, what do I want to create? What is inspiring me right now? Like, what would I just love to live in right now? What is inspiring me? And I feel like that would give you hints. And I feel like that, like tapping more into that and leaning more and channeling into that, I feel like would really help you guys. Yeah, so let's pull your oracle cards. Guidance and messages from the water spirits. Your creators, you guys are. And I feel like you can use that tool to help you connect to your emotions. Pile number, because I feel like life, because I'm looking at the Lovers card and the Ace of Swords, I just feel like life in itself mirrors so much of your inner world to you. Because I see you like I see you going through like an emotional time, let's say a breakup, and then all of a sudden like this movie just comes up on your, you know, screen, and it's like, it's exactly what you needed, and you relate to the character, and it's like, oh my god, I needed this, and it's really cathartic for you. And it's like, you may look at the movie soundtrack or the TV soundtrack or whatever it is and flow through it, and you kind of take on that energy, and it helps you purge. I hope that makes sense, because I just feel like life mirrors where you're currently at. Pile number 1, please, spirit guides, messages from the water spirit for my pile number 1s. We have Atlantis. I'm just going to use a crystal to cover her, but it says rapid development, excellence and success. Rapid development. Yeah, I just feel like you guys are constantly moving and growing, so I feel like you're constantly accessing different aspects to yourself, opening up these, you know, rooms in the dollhouse, and I feel like as you create those rooms, you know what I mean, and you build them up, and you channel different aspects of yourself into them, I feel like that is how you move through your emotions, you know what I mean? I feel like they take form through you into the physical. I hope that makes sense. And if you have a business or a career, whatever it is, I feel like channeling what it is you're tapping into now, channeling it into your business, channeling it into your work, I feel like that is also something that can help you. And it can help other people as well, and inspire other people. So pile number 1, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pal 2, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance and messages the water spirits have for you right now to help you connect to your inner internal flow. So pile number 2, please, spirit guides, tap me into the collective of my pile number 2s. Tap me into the collective of my pile number 2s. If you hear like little like noises. It's Luna. She's right by the side of me. She's got my blanket in her mouth and she's like kneading the blanket. Pile number 2, please, spirit guides. Pile number 2. Tap me into the collective of my pile number 2. Messages from the water spirits for my pile number 2s, please. Okay, we have the 6 of Cups. I'm just going to grab your card that fell on the floor. We have the 2 of Wands. Okay. Pile number 2, we have the 10 of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Wands. And we have the Moon. The back of the deck is the Fool. Okay. First thing I'm actually being told is that you guys don't actually have any problem with connecting with your emotions. I'm also being told you guys may be my water pile, because I'm just picking up a lot of water energy. So you could have a lot of water in your charts. You could have a lot of planets in the water houses. You could have like you could have your moon and your ascendant as well. I'm being told. I just feel like you guys, I don't know, I just feel like I walk through life feeling anyway. Like I feel like I take on a lot. I feel like I embody a lot. That's the first thing that I want to say. So in terms of your internal flow, we're good. I feel like you connect to your emotions very well. But what I'm actually being shown is, okay, I'm being shown like a pirate ship out at sea. And I feel like in like one of the back rooms, I've got this big kind of like, let's just say living room sort of thing, like a living area where I am. And it's like full of jewels, like full of jewels, to the point that it's bursting at the seams. There's no room to sit down. Like I kind of feel like I've hoarded or I've taken on, like I feel like I'm swimming in jewelry. How I would look at that is, in this, you know, like everyday life, is I almost feel like I'm hoarding memories, or I'm hoarding emotions. I'm struggling to let go in room for the new. So I can tap into the emotions very easily. That's something that I feel like you guys are ace at. I feel like you're really good at it. But I feel like sometimes you struggle to release and let go of the past in order for newness to come in. I feel like I'm maybe replaying certain feelings and emotions. I feel like I'm going back, because I feel like I'm going like to my back room and I'm like opening up the memory box, and I feel like I'm pulling everything out and looking at it, and it's like I'm not making room for the new, or I'm not letting go of the old so the new can kind of come in. It's making me think of that movie, the Spotless Mind movie, where they like erase the memory sort of thing. Like that's what I'm being shown. Like I feel like I struggle with that. So I feel like sometimes you guys may tend to how do I put this into words? Let me sit in this energy for a minute, please, spirit guides. Can you help me explain this energy, please, and how we can move through it? Okay. Because you guys are very sensitive, I feel like you guys, when you show up to things and you open up, because I'm thinking of like a shell, right? And you guys chose the shell. When there's a sea creature inside of that shell, they have the shell to keep themselves safe. So I feel like you guys, you are very sensitive. And one thing I feel like you've also learned is boundaries. That's actually something that you've learned, because I see the hard shell. So I feel like you guys know who to open up to and who to not. And I feel like I've got this heart, but I'm keeping it very safe. It's hidden in this shell. So when I connect to people, I really bare my soul and I really connect, because I feel like you're very sensitive. And I feel like when I say sensitive, it's not a negative thing. I feel like you're able to really tap into people on a really deep level, and I love that. However, I feel like it's like once I've shown somebody all of myself, it's really, really hard to remove myself, because I feel like whoever you're around, you become. I feel like whoever you're around, you connect to them like family. This is to do with people. No, do you know what? It's not just to do with people. I feel like you can get very sentimental with homes that you live in, ornaments, things like that. And I think it's beautiful because everything means something to you. You're very deep. It's like, this means something to me. I'm emotional because this means something to me. I'm connected to this because it means something to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes I feel like you can struggle to open up to the new, because it's like, I'm in my shell and I'm used to this. This energy means something to me, or this home means something to me, or, you know, this thing that I'm using means something to me, I don't want to open up to the new, because there's this feeling of like, when I open up to the new, I've got to get out of the shell, I've got to be vulnerable, I've got to be open. And then there's this fear of like, what if it all goes wrong? What if I get hurt? What if this happens? What if that happens? There's a fear. So it's like, I want to stay in my shell. I want to keep that depth within. There's also a fear as well of like, when I let my emotions flow, it's almost like there's like a can of worms that's opened, if that makes sense. How do I put it into words? Like, I feel like I'm fearing my emotions becoming really erratic, or I'm fearing something that's going to hurt me. So I feel like I'm fearing opening up to another person. I'm fearing opening up to another relationship. I'm worried that like it's going to hurt. I'm fearing like maybe losing myself. I'm fearing, yeah, that's what it is. I'm fearing letting go of the comfort, letting go of control, letting go of what I know. That's what it is. Because some of you guys may try and control your immediate environment so that everything stays safe and everything stays how it is, and you know what to predict. Again, nothing wrong with that. I feel like you're creating your home base, you're creating your shell. That's great. However, we want to listen to our own internal flow, because there are times then where we're meant to venture outside of the shell. You know, the shell is there for us to go into when we need it, but we need to venture out. And I feel like that's the struggle. We have the Fool at the back of the deck. The struggle is then, I feel like you get very comfortable where you're at, and it's like, I don't want to move from here. And I feel like then you may struggle to open up to people, or open up to relationships, or just jump towards new opportunities, because it's like, I feel very safe here. I don't want to move. And what we want to do is know when to jump out of the shell, know when to take heed of like a plan that we have in our mind, know when to take heed of like to jump into the spotlight or be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you don't give yourself credit in terms of like how intuitive you are, and also how intelligent you are. I feel like you know when it's time to open up to somebody, you know when it's time to feel into something, you know when it's time to get out there. And I feel like you've worked so hard, especially with these boundaries in the shell. I feel like you've worked so hard in knowing your boundaries and being more cutthroat when you need to. I feel like you've worked hard in that. So the thing here really is trusting yourself when it's time to open up, when it's time to come out of the shell. Because in terms of emotions, to be honest with you, you listen to them, you feel them. You feel fear, you feel it. You feel frustrated, you feel it. You feel angry, you feel it. You allow it to pass through. It's just oh my god, I really don't want to come out of the shell. I'm safe here, I'm comfortable. Like, I'm in this house and it's safe in this house and I don't want to walk outside. That's kind of how I feel. I've learned all of those lessons and it's great. And, you know, I went through that phase of being lonely and isolated because it was like what I needed at the time I was healing, and that was great. But now I'm kind of feeling like I need to open up to relationships and other people, and I know it's time because I feel it and I kind of want it, but also I want to stay here right now. And it's like, okay, that's fine, honor it, but know when it's time to just take a bit of a leap or just slightly crawl out. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's new opportunity around you and waiting, and I kind of just feel like I'm in the shell. It's making me think, there was this episode of SpongeBob where he was scared to go outside, and he like sings this indoors song. It's actually really cute, and he has like the 3 friends, but his 3 friends are like a Penny, a Hanky, and a Chip. And he's like, I'm sure it's the Penny's like, sing to me, Penny, and he's like singing this indoors song because he likes being indoors. And I feel like we've all been there when we've done that inner work and we've, you know, done that work. And I think that you guys have your comforts, but it's like, there's a reference here, like there's a lot outside that's like waiting for you. You've already grown and evolved. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm going back to that back room with all of that jewelry, and I'm holding on to like, and how do I put it into words? Because I'm hearing like that's a good lesson. That was a good lesson. I feel like I'm opening the chest and I'm thinking of like, let's just say an X from like 5 years ago, and it's like, I don't want to go back to the X, but like I'm holding the beads, which is the X, and I'm just kind of playing around with the beads. I'm playing around with like the past, because it's like I knew what to expect, you know what I mean, from those types of people, and I knew what to expect. When I go out there again, I'm not going to know what to expect, and that's scary, it's daunting. So how can we, I'm going to put some more cards for you guys. How can we work through that, please, Spirit Guides? How can we feel safe enough to get out there, be more vulnerable, and open up to the new? Because what it is, you know what it is? It's the old and the past, or just your comfort zone, whichever one resonates for you. Could be both. They are predictable. They're predictable. You know what was to come. It's like, I remember when I was having my driving lessons, and I always would hope the area by my house where I'd go around the roundabouts, I would always hope every lesson that we were going to go around there, because I knew what to do. I knew what to do. I knew to go down into second gear when we got to the roundabout. Like, I knew what to do. Whereas, like, when we were heading into town with all the crossroads and the unmarked crossroads and the traffic lights and all the other busy cars, it was fear of the unknown. So that to me was like, oh my god, no. So before every lesson I was like, oh my god, please, can we just keep going around the roundabouts? But if we would have gone around the roundabouts, I wouldn't have learned to drive. I needed to go into the, in there and know what to do and change into this gear and stop here. Like, I needed to learn that. So there's something here about, like, I just want to keep going around the roundabouts for now. Like, I just want to keep going around the roundabouts. Okay, we have 6 of Wands. Spirit guides, tap me into my pile number 2s. How can I tap into their internal flow? How can I feel safe? How can my pile number 2s feel safe and ready to open up and be vulnerable? What is the solution to this energy, please, spirit guides? And this isn't for, like, if you still need to be on your own for a minute and you know that you still need to be alone for a second. If you already know you still need that, like, that's cool. Wait until you feel ready. This is for those of you that have that desire to open up again, or try something new, or start a new job venture, or open up to relationships again, open up to new friendships again. It's for those of you that know you want it but are struggling. If you already feel that feeling of like, I still feel like I need time by myself, listen to that. This is for those of you that know but you still want to stay in your comfort zone, but you know you need to make a shift, and this is also very normal. So this isn't anything you're doing wrong. This is a very normal feeling to have, especially if you've been on your own for some time, doing healing, doing some inner work. It gets cozy and comfortable, 6 of Wands, Justice. But what you're trying to do is predict. Is like, I have more control. You have more control in the shallow end of the pool because your feet are on the ground and you can easily walk out, but you're not going to learn to swim there, Page of Swords. And I think because it's like, I'm worrying that this person's going to, F me over. If I fall in love, this is going to happen. If I start that business adventure, it's going to fall through. And it's like, you're not trusting not only how far you've come and your boundaries, but it's like it's similar to a pile I did the other day where I was talking about, like, lack of authority. Like, it's like you're not trusting your own authority. Like, I think you're going to be shocked when you start to open up how different you approach things and how maybe even less certain things affect you because you didn't give your all to it. It's like, for example, like, let's just say somebody like your ex shows up and they're not being consistent, they're not pouring into you. You're going to have a completely different reaction. You're not going to give in to that energy. And then there's going to be someone maybe then that pours into you and is more, cut from the same cloth as you. And you're naturally going to see a difference because you're naturally going to want to open to them and flow and grow with them. You're going to be shocked at how much you've changed and grown and how much work you've actually done on yourself to see things differently and move differently. Because I feel like what I'm being shown is before you went into that cave of, like, inner work or that shell, I feel like you were playing around in different areas. I feel like you were around the different tribes. I feel like you were heading to, the different places. I feel like you've grown. You're in a complete different energy now. So different people you're going to be drawn to. You're going to be drawn to different people, different scenarios. The way you approach your career is going to be different. And you're going to know, because there's something here about how, I want to say, how strong your intuition is. Maybe in the past you had your strong intuition, but you didn't. Sometimes you might not have, like, followed it, or you would have allowed other people to, like, take authority over it, and you would have pushed it down and be like, I knew not to do this, but I still did. Whereas now it's like, no, I follow my intuition and I trust it. Like, there's a difference, you know what I mean? But it's like trusting yourself that you'll be okay. I feel like that's the main thing. Pile number 2, please, spirit guides. Messages from the water spirits. I just keep feeling like I feel comfortable right now. And safe, but I know I want change. Like, I feel like I'm itching to change. I'm itching to jump out of my comfort zone. 6 of Swords, and we have the 4 of Wands. And the back of the deck is Death. yeah, I feel like you're itching for change. Because I feel like, you know, because I feel like your energy right now, because I'm getting like a pressure around the shell, which is forcing the little sea urchin or whatever's inside to pop out. You guys are feeling the internal flow and the shift to like, go take that trip, go on that vacation, go and travel over here, head out, start getting out again and being a bit more extroverted. Start that class. I'm hearing a yoga class for whoever's been thinking of doing that. Start that class, start that new, you know, activity. I want to learn to horse ride, I want to learn to paint, I want to learn to ride motorcycles, whatever it is. Like, I feel like there's a yearning for it, but I'm like, I'm kind of safe in my shell, I'm safe here. Again, it's predictable. I feel like I can predict everything here. But I feel like you're hearing those needs for things, you're hearing those needs to get out there, because it's what your soul is actually craving, to expand and to grow. Like, I want to get out of this part, I want to evolve beyond this. 6 of Wands, Justice, Page of Swords, 6 of Swords, and the 4 of Wands. I just want to more big you up and tell you how much you've grown, and how I just want to keep saying as well how intuitive you are. Like, you've grown so much, and I think anything that stopped you following your intuition and going after what felt right to you and connected to, you know, your own heart space and what you truly wanted, I feel like anything that stopped that before, you've already worked through and untangled. And when you come out of the shell, I feel like you're going to be shocked at how you're in the same world but in a different frequency. So different energies are coming in, different partners are coming in, different friendships are going to come in because you recognize them. Maybe you didn't recognize them before, maybe there were wounds involved, or there was, you know, because I'm being shown like little bits of like shards of glass, so it's like wounds. So you were maybe connected to more people that were mirroring these wounds to you, and even though you intuitively felt like, oh, I don't know about this, you were drawn to it because there was something that needed to be pulled out. But now that's gone. And that's not to say maybe certain people that are similar to you know, those past people or past situations, they may still show up, but you're not going to feel drawn to it because they're gone. There's nothing in you connecting to it. They're gone. You know what I mean? So you're going to be able to go, that's a hard pass. I'm not interested in that. I know when people, you know, love bomb me and do that, like, I feel like you've learned so much. And there's also a message here to trust that. And I feel like over the next, I'm being shown the number 7, so I'm going to say 7 months. I feel like over the next 7 months, I feel like you're going to be called to make little leaps of faith that are going to be out of your comfort zone. But I feel like the more you do them, the more you're going to grow confidence in one. Like I was saying, that inner authority that came up in one of my videos the other day, connecting to your inner authority. But also just the more you're doing it, it's like you're gaining more confidence in yourself. I just see you going and doing little things. It'll probably start little and then get big, like more grandiose sort of things. Like, let me go for like a little night away, or let me go on like a little day trip in the town over, you know, in just one town over. And then like next year, it's like, let me travel over here, you know. It's that sort of thing. I think it's going to lead up. But I feel like those little things, taking those little leaps of faith, I feel like you're going to be called to do it. If not, I do see spirit and the universe kind of not flicking you off like the pedestal that you're on, in terms of get over here, there's something for you here. But I just feel like, how do I put it into words, things are going to be placed in front of you that are going to have you come out of your shell. I see things just kind of placed in front of you if you don't choose to jump off them, sort of thing, because I see timelines being woven. But I feel like you're coming to a point now, pal number 2, where new opportunities are coming in. You're feeling this draw to these new energies, but I feel like there is that worry and that fear of like jumping out of the shell, being seen, being vulnerable, taking those risks. But I feel like they're going to pay off. And if you guys are watching this and you're like, I still don't feel ready, you could just be watching a future energy. So just if you know there's nothing you want to go out and leap, and you know you don't want to change anything right now, chill out where you are. It'll come, it'll start activating. I could be picking up on an energy that's earlier on, you know, that's later on, if that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like in terms of connecting to your inner internal flow, I feel like you already do it. You're always in flow with everything. It's just right now I feel like I'm holding on to the ledge. You know, I don't want to jump off. My feet are like glued to the ledge. I don't want to move a second. Because it's predictable up here. I know when I walk forward, there is land under my feet. There's, you know, I don't want to feel nothing under my feet. But I think you're going to grow a lot. There's a lot of growth over the next... okay, I'm just letting it come through because this is just how it's coming through. I keep being shown over the next 2 years, this is a lot of shifts in your physical world, so in your physical reality. The way it's being shown to me, you know, like a fun house, like the fun house from Greece, and you have like the moving floors and the thing that turns itself around. I can't remember what it's called. It's like that wooden thing that they're in and they're dancing in the Greece song, yeah, the one that I want song. I'm being shown like a fun house, and it's like every couple of steps there's something weird and wonderful. That's like an experience. That's what I keep being shown over the next 2 years. Like I feel like I'm trying to, because I know they're probably different in different parts of the world, the fun houses, but it's like, okay, I've just walked into this room and there's all these funny mirrors, you know what I mean, and they're distorting how I look, and it's like, oh, okay, and it's like I'm learning something from this. So let's just say like you're drawn to like go surfing and you've never wanted to do that before. It's like, I want to get a surfboard and surf. So you start learning to surf, and then it's like you move into the next room, and it's like, let's just say you meet someone and you make a friend through that, and then it's like that friend's like, oh my god, like I have a place in this area, would you like to stay around? And then like that's the next part of it. You go and stay around with that friend, and then it's like, you know, you might decide that you're a bit more extroverted and you want to, you know, be into like the nightlife sort of thing, like not like drinking all the time if you don't want to, but you know what I mean, just being out at night and enjoying things, or going to museums or going shopping and things like that. And it's like every single room, every single part of that funhouse, you're learning something different, and it's putting you in place for something else. Because I'm being shown monkey bars swinging. There's just like a lot of physical movement over the next 2 years that is going to be really beneficial for you. And I think this is the thing, you intuitively know this, you energetically know this, and there's this feeling of like, I want to stay here a minute, I'm safe. Like I want to stay here a minute, I know I'm safe. Like I want to stay here because it's like I know there's going to be a lot of movement, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's how I feel like you already know, because it's like I intuitively know this, so I'm kind of holding on for as long as I can to this shell. But like with goldfish, like when you buy a goldfish and you have like a little bowl for it, it's only going to stay that big. When you buy a bigger tank, it gets bigger. And you're kind of like, I'm happy here. This is the last tank before I go to the ocean. I'm scared. I know goldfish don't go in the ocean, but you know what I mean. Pile number 2. Pile 2, please, spirit guides. Pile number 2. Messages from the water spirits. We have Imrama, wonder, voyage. Yeah, voyage. Crossing deep waters, pilgrimage, journey of the soul. You see, she's taking the boat out. She's going beyond the waters that she's used to. She's taking the boat out to travel. Some of you guys might travel, you know, or you might relocate homes. It's right here next to the 6 of Swords too. I'm just thinking of like a transition. You could be moving homes, or you could travel, or you could be called to like go on a couple of vacations and do something just a little bit off the cuff. If it's not like far travel, because I'm thinking like 9th house, if it's not like far away travel, and it could be like short-term travel, so still in your area, but you're just getting out there and seeing things you never knew were there before. Like, oh my god, I didn't know we had a park, a national park, like a couple of miles from there, or maybe you heard about it but never went, or like, you know, like for example, if you live in the UK and you've never really set foot outside of England, you could be going up to Scotland or heading over to Ireland or going into Wales. Come say hi if you do. But yeah, you know, you could be doing that. There's that sort of thing. It could be like more closer to you. Or again, in America, you could be going to like a state over, or if you're in Spain, you could be heading over to Italy, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so pile number 2, that is what I have for you. It's been longer than I expected, but I feel like Spirit had a lot to say. And it's felt very focused on where you're currently at as well. So I hope you got everything you needed. And yeah, hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. If you haven't watched Candle's video yet, the link is in the description to head over to the next part. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day, beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pal 3, welcome to your reading. So you guys chose the third swirly shell, and we are going to be taking a look at what guidance and messages the water spirits have for you right now in connecting to your own internal flow. So I'm going to start with tarot, and then we'll move on to your oracle cards. So pile number 3, please, spirit guides. Pile number 3, please. Guidance from the water spirits for my pile number 3s, please. Guidance from the water spirits for my pile number 3s, please. Okay, we have the Ace of Swords. I keep being shown, just because it's coming through, I keep being shown, you know when like water freezes, and if you zoom in to the pattern of when the water freezes, it's almost like its own kind of geometric shape. It's like its own frequency, and when you zoom into like a snowflake, it has its own frequency sort of thing. So it's like we can visually see the energy and the frequency and how water can freeze and things like that. I remember somebody you know, like that, I always say, like, there was this study or something where there were plants and people had to speak life into, you know, this one plant, and they had to be mean to the other plant, say mean things, and the one that they said mean things to, it died, right? There was this other study where I'm sure it was like somebody would like yell at like a bottle of water that was about to be frozen, and somebody would speak life into the bottle of water that was frozen. The bottle of water that they spoke life into, the way the shapes formed, it was just so beautiful, and it was all, I think it was like symmetrical, whereas the other one, it was all jagged and it didn't look right? So that's a visual representation of like frequency, you know what I mean? Because water carries frequency. That's a visual representation. And I keep being shown that because I'm then being taken to you. I'm just gonna put these on a minute because I just feel like I'm being shown things more than the cards saying anything. I keep being shown that in regards to you, and I keep being shown you being the crystal or being the water, you know what I mean, before it's frozen, and having that frequency. And I'm being shown you guys being very fluid, very, very fluid. And what's interesting in then is I keep being shown clairsentience as like the gift of clairsentience, and I keep referencing that, like, not only do you have that ability very strongly, but I feel like you are able to take on your environments. I feel like you are able to absorb your environments, the people that you're around. I feel like you're able to take on the emotion, take on the frequency. And I feel like also, this has also been a situation at times where people have like projected onto you or said things to you. And I feel like you've also taken that on as your own as well. So it's you being the water with like that frequency in it that's frozen. Sometimes you've had other people project and chuck things or whatever, and I feel like you've dealt with that being part of your frequency. And I keep hearing Taylor Swift's song Shake It Off, so I feel like you are somebody that's constantly fluidly moving, so you shake things off all the time. I feel like anytime somebody sends you evil eye, anytime somebody says something to you, I feel like you work through it, you transmute it, or you literally just flow out of it. You just feel that way. I feel like you flow a lot. In terms of tapping into your internal flow, you flow a lot. But I do think you guys sometimes struggle with other people's rubbish going into your stream. Or you taking on, you know, other people's rubbish and trash and everything. It goes into your stream sometimes. And with you, it's not a case of you tapping into your internal flow, because you already do it. But it's making sure that that stream is clear and clean, so that you can deal and unpack your own emotions first and understand your own emotions and know what's in my limit today. Can I take this on? Can I not? I'm not absorbing that. I'm not taking that on today. And that's the task for you guys. That's the task. It's really rooting and grounding. It's not so much you struggling to tap into emotions, because I don't see that for you, but I do think sometimes other people's emotions get in the blender with yours and they're all swirling around, and sometimes I see you like weeping or crying or feeling insecure, and it's not even your emotion. So the main focus here, the guidance that's coming through, is making sure that we understand how to really anchor ourselves in and not absorb other people's energy, because I feel like I'm being taken again to the water that would have frozen in a specific way. Really channeling for you guys. I wonder if you guys are channelers yourself, because it's just flowing through. Or you guys just energy just flows through. You could also do, because I tend to find I really channel a lot and it flows like this, either when I'm connecting to other channelers or when people channel frequencies through, so when they're into like Reiki healing and things like that. So it wouldn't shock me if you guys work in those fields, because that's where I tend to find the cards just sit down and I just allow it to flow. And that's what's happening here. But yeah, I'm really being shown you know, the water before it freezes, and I'm being shown the frequency of you, and I feel like you're learning to really root into that, because I do feel you need that gift of tapping into things, because I feel like that's your gift. I feel like when you're around people, you become it. When you're in an environment, you become it. Some of you guys may also be like, if I'm watching a TV show or if I'm watching a movie, it has that effect on me. I kind of align with it, you know what I mean? I take on the emotion. It's making me think as well of like actors that like method act and they really get into the character. I feel like that would be you guys. I feel like you're able to absorb things really well, but it's learning how to work with it instead of it working against you. So let's go deeper into that, please, spirit guides. Let's go deeper into that. What do my pile number 3s need to hear? How can my pile number 3s create an anchor and root themselves in? How can my pile number 3s? We have the Wheel of Fortune. Another beautiful thing about this is, if anyone was able to try and do spell work on you or chuck things at you or evil eye or whatever, half of the time they hit your old skin that you already shed. I feel like you're a hard person to you may find like when you go to readers, they may struggle to tap into you, because I feel like I'm literally, the way I'm being made to feel is because I'm clairsentient, I can tap in, but I feel like if somebody didn't possess clairsentience and they were just psychically connecting to you, or clairvoyance, whatever, any of the other gifts, I feel like sometimes it may be hard for people to pinpoint you, because I'm being shown like a whirlpool. If you've ever seen something flow into a whirlpool and it goes round and round and round, I'm finding it hard to grab onto you, if that makes sense. And I feel like that even may happen with people that may try and project or even put you down, because I feel like people struggle to kind of sink their teeth in, because I feel like the way I'm tapping into you guys, I keep being shown all those lizards, and when you stand on their tail, the tail comes off. It's like, ha, didn't even need the tail anyway. You're constantly fluid and moving, and here I am. No, I'm not. Like, I always say it wrong. It's not a chameleon, it's like a chamelon. I always say chameleon. Apologies for that. But that's how I feel. Like, I'm changing colour, I'm moving. Like, catch me if you can. Like, that's your energy, but you don't mean to do it. That's just you. I just feel like you're very fluid. You're like 1 foot in the physical, 1 foot in spirit. I feel like this is my spiritual pilot, and it wouldn't shock me if a lot of you work with spirit as a profession. There's always that one pile. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. Pile number 3. How can my pile number 3s stop other people's rubbish from getting into their stream? See, other people's rubbish can get into your stream, or trash, if you call it trash. Other people's trash can get into your stream. Sometimes it's on purpose, because I feel like for some of you guys it's part of your gift where you'll take something on and transmute it and purge it out. So sometimes you do it on purpose, like I'm doing this because I'm genuinely helping somebody out, or I'm holding space for them, or whatever it is. It could be part of your profession. I'm holding space, that's what I'm doing. Or I'm doing clearing work, you know, myself. I take it on and transmute it. But what we want to do is kind of put the gates firmly in front of us, like, unless we're choosing to do it, the trash doesn't need to come in. I don't need to be taking everything on. You also feel very connected to the elemental realms. It feels like the fae, water spirits as well, the gnomes, you know, the tree people, stone people. You just feel connected to the elements, the elemental realms. Because with the elemental realms, they're connected to earth, but they're just beyond the eye. You feel like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're here, but also you're not. Like, you just feel that way. You're probably that pile that I reference. You're like Dumbledore, Gandalf. Like, you're that sort of. We've got the Hermit, as I say that as well. He kind of looks like one of them. Pile number 3. Guidance for my pile number 3 is, how can they anchor themselves into this reality and stop other people's trash from murky in the water. We have death here as well. Queen of Swords and death. Back of the deck, we have the Six of Wands. To be honest with you, I kind of feel like I just want to sit back and channel, but the cards will represent what I'm saying anyway. I'm going to read them anyway. Ace of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, the Hermit, Queen of Swords, death. Your voice is your biggest tool, actually, in this reality. And yeah, your voice is your biggest, one of your biggest tools. Because I always say this, when we're very connected to spirit, and then we have the physical reality, how do we get a lot of the messages through to other people? Our voice. We speak it. That's a bridge. Our voice is a portal. Our voice is a bridge from what we have in our minds, from what we're feeling, whatever we're channeling from spirit, whatever we're getting from spirit. It's a portal to bring it into the physical, to translate it to other people. You know what I mean? And there's something here about you. You guys need to talk your ish more, and I feel like you guys need to how do I put this into words? This is coming through. There's something about you being a bit more assertive, because one thing I will say about you guys is you don't miss a beat. Like, you do not miss a beat. But I feel like because you're very fluid, which is great, I feel like a lot of the times, even if somebody says something you don't like, or you know, they might be a little bit shady, I feel like you don't call it out a lot, because sometimes it might not even mean anything to you. And second of all, it's like, because you read people so deeply, because you're able to feel them, you can see why people are moving. Like, oh, that person was just insecure, so they just said that. I'm not going to take it too serious. Or that person is just going through it. It's okay. Like, they're going through this or whatever. And I feel like you just allow it to slide because of that. You know what I mean? You're fluid. It's fine. Your biggest anchor in this lifetime is actually really rooting and building up your ego and that assertive side. So working with your solar plexus, working with your ego, and really rooting and grounding, because it's like, yeah, okay, that person may be going through something and that's why they made that comment. It still doesn't make it right. And when we build up our ego and we start to really root ourselves in, yes, we understand, you know, you're going through it, that's why you said it, it's fine. But you're able to go, yeah, okay, you're going through it, but actually, I'm a living, breathing human being. I deserve respect, and I don't think you should have said that at all. That, not on my watch. I'm going to put you in your place now. You're not going to say that to me. The more I feel you build up that and that fire, which is within you already, I feel like it's there. The more you bring that into the physical, because I feel like your fire you keep, you may have like a fire sign or like your sun or something in the 8th house or the 12th house. I feel like your fire, you keep it hidden. Could be the 4th house too. Your fire, you keep hidden. You could have fire signs in the 4th, 8th and 12th as well. And people need to see your fire. I feel like people need to see that fire. People need to see your flame. People need to see you assert yourself. People need to hear what you've got to say. People need to hear your raw. That's what I'm getting, because then what you do is you nip it in the bud very quickly. I'm not doing that today. I haven't got the emotional bandwidth to listen to this today. Actually, I've been pouring into you. You haven't actually poured into me. I am drained, and I've got to sort out all of this mess while you're still trying to put more mess in my river. Not today. And I'm using my voice as a tool. No, thank you. I'm not interested. And I feel that is mainly your tool here. Ace of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, the Hermit. People need to see, because if you look at the Hermit, you know, he's carrying that little flame, but it's like, it's in that little jar. So it's contained in that little jar. We need to get it out of that jar so people can see. Because one thing about you, you're a very powerful person. You're very humble with it. And humble's okay. But if you actually read the definition of humble, I can't remember the actual specific definition, but it basically means to like speak a little lower of yourself to make other people feel comfortable. And I feel like sometimes you may do that because you take on other people's feelings, you consider everyone, you know what I mean? But you also need to make sure that you're considering yourself too. And I think people need to see that fire. And I feel like earlier on, back in the day when you were growing up, this may have kept you safe. I'll keep my fire, I'll keep my power, I'll keep my thoughts, my opinions, and all these things that I'm catching that people are doing, I'll keep it hidden so that maybe I'm not a target, so maybe I feel safe. You know, I'm hearing that Nicki Minaj quote when she's like, if you don't make moves and you don't climb up the ladder, everybody loves you because you're not competition. And maybe you've cloaked yourself in that. Maybe you haven't climbed up the ladder. Maybe you have kept that fire contained and you just use it when you need to. However, that fire is yours first. And I feel like when you start to voice feelings, energies, opinions, and you start to call things out, tell people no. It's literally as simple as that, but I know it's like, it's a bigger energy, so it may take a moment, especially if you've always been taught to tailor to everyone else's needs, you know, keep that down. Maybe people have projected onto you and put you down. If you've dealt with that, of course, that's going to be slightly a struggle at the beginning. You're going to work up to it. But I feel like as you slowly start to assert yourself and you start to bring that fire into this everyday reality, and you start to go, no, actually, I do want, it's making me think of, I was watching The Office, and I remember like Pam, who was like a bit of like a people pleaser, and she was, you know, quite shy, and she's like, this is the new Pam, and she goes to the bar, and I think they give her the wrong drink, and then she has the drink and she's like, this isn't the drink I wanted, and then you just see her like look at the camera, and then she's like, actually, I didn't order this, and he goes and changes it, and even though it's like such a little thing, you just see the pride on her face, like, I just told them I didn't want that. It starts like that, and it gets bigger and bigger until that fire, which I love the candle, if you can't see, it's started to get brighter as I've said that, that fire starts to ignite, and people start to see, you know what I mean, you step into your own power, and people start to really see that side of you. And I feel like that's where people don't dare chuck those things into your river, you know what I mean, and people start to, oh, that person's boundaries are really, really strong, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna try and chuck things in, because as much as we like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and people are going through their things, you know this, I don't even need to say it, you know, sometimes people bank on other people not knowing their worth, or not sticking up for themselves. Sometimes there are people out there that do bank on it, and I feel like those types of people sometimes you've met, where they've kind of just chucked everything onto you, maybe yanked your energy, and then you've maybe even sometimes felt a bit used, or now I'm left with this mess, and they're just running off. They feel like they're topped up because they are. I've just given them a bunch of energy and I'm just dealt with this mess. I feel like the bigger these boundaries go, the more you get to know yourself, the more you get to know your fire. What do I like? What do I want? What are my needs? The more you build this up, the more it's your tool. You start to assert that out. Actually, I like red instead of orange. Actually, I like tea instead of coffee. Actually, I didn't like when you said that. It creates that kind of safety net, and that those gates around your stream for things to flow, and you don't have to worry about who's dumping what in where. Because you've got a lot of fire, but I feel like sometimes people don't see the fire. Even though I feel like a lot of people know you have it, because I feel people have benefited when you've given it to them. I feel like you haven't used it for yourself. And especially in the spiritual community, and I feel like you guys work with spirit, we're always told, and I get the whole, like, you know, we've got to step outside our ego. That's great. But what I tend to find is a lot of people that do connect with spirit, a lot of them aren't fully leading, you know, fully with their ego. It's like we're connecting with spirit. We give the benefit of the doubt. We see deeper. But we also need to learn, yes, we have an ego death to transmute all of our wounds and our fears, but we need to build that back up, because we're not here to be a fluffy cloud in this lifetime. We're here to be a nice rooted tree. We're here to learn the human experience, and part of the human experience is having that level of ego, having our boundaries, and making sure things are balanced. And things are not balanced if we're giving it all out and we're not receiving back. And that is why you guys struggle with your inner internal flow, because sometimes there's just a lot going on in your stream. And I feel like that is what it is, because I feel like you're meant to have certain things come into your stream, because it's part of, for me, it feels like part of your job, which makes me think you do this for a career. And it doesn't have to be spirituality. It can be counseling, therapy. You could be a carer. You could be a motivational speaker. You could be anything, right? It could be part of your profession like that. So you're meant to a degree, but it's like not every single relationship then that I have in life is meant to be me just being that healer. Like, you're meant to love me for me, and I'm meant to have a balanced connection here. And I think that's the key. And that's what's going to help you build, you know, build those gates up. But it's your voice, because you're going to get to a point in this lifetime where you really talk your ish, and you're not even going to need the shell. It's like, I don't even need the shell. This fire, it's there anyway. It's blinding those, you know, it's that I don't need it. And that's where you're headed towards. If it looks a little bit dark, apologies. I was filming this earlier in the day and there was lots of stops and starts between the piles, and it's now getting dark outside, so I hope my candle, I'll move it closer so you can see a bit brighter, but I hope my candle has given enough light. Okay, so let's pull your oracle cards. Pile number 3. guidance for my pile number 3s, please. From the water spirits. Oh, goodness, a bunch of cards just flipped over. Hang on. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. Pile number 3. We have Song of the Siren, and what do we do when we sing? We use our voice. Love that. The call, summoning voice to acknowledge. You need to make yourself known when you step into a room. Your energy does that anyway, but I feel like you need to use your more physical tools to be seen and to be known and to be heard, I feel. You may have even learned in your earlier life, I'm not meant to take up space, I need to blend back into the wall. You may have learned that. And it's safe and you're analysing and you pick up the energies of the room, great. But we can pick up the energies of the room and analyse while also stepping away from that wall and standing in our truth. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times we learn to analyse and anticipate other people's actions to keep ourselves safe, you know? And I think, like I said, growing up, I feel like that was a big part of this, maybe cloaking yourself to keep yourself safe. You're a powerful person, and I think that fire is now going to take place of that cloak, where you're going to be seen, and that fire is what's going to keep you safe. The boundaries, the not missing a beat, that I respect you're going through something, don't talk to me that way. I respect, you know, this and that, but like, you just keep yabbing at me, let's chill out. You're going, you know, 100, you love bombing, I'm not into it, let's move slow. You don't know me. I've known you a day, you don't love me. So that sort of thing, I feel like you're learning to do that, because I feel like you deal with love bombers in friendships and relationships, where people just love bomb and then they like get what they need and then they run. And I think that you felt kind of used up, or like you've taken something from me. Yeah, because I feel like I'm digging my feet into the ground, and I'm really like, no, you will not trespass. Like that's kind of like how I feel. Like I'm using my ability to read the energy, and I'm like, sorry, but you know, chill out. You know what I mean? And pulling back. Yeah, I feel like you've dealt with people that have kind of like love bomb, because they've been very drawn to your energy, and I think they're drawn to that internal flame. You're very soothing to people too, I'm being told. So I feel like people, they're drawn to that. But your voice, there's something about your voice, and that in itself is a journey. When we learn to speak up for ourselves and we learn to put boundaries in, that is a journey that sometimes we can even regress on, because especially if you've been taught not to stand up for yourself, and you know, you've been taught to like not listen to your own needs and all of that. If that was taught in childhood, for example, that's like an ingrained personality trait that you will then have to work through, and it's a trauma response. So there's going to be a wounds attached to it, and that's going to take its time for you to feel safe to assert yourself in certain ways, and that's okay. So take your time. I would even maybe meditate and connect to your inner child. Go back to certain memories where you felt like you were stifled or your voice was taken away, and really just breathe life, speak to that version of you, love that version of you, pour energy there. You can, you know, visualize energy being sent into the solar plexus there. Or I like to sometimes rearrange my memories. So what I do is I go back to a past version of myself, and I embody that version of me that was, you know, kind of like bullied or put down or whatever it is, and I raw, like everything that I wish I could have said, I'll say. And I feel like that would be really helpful for some of you guys. But yeah, take your time. I feel like you're doing beautifully anyway, just with the energy that you put out there. And I feel like this is something you're learning, you know, to anchor. Yeah, so pile number 3, that is what I have for you. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. The link to Kendall's video, the next part, if you haven't watched already, is in the description box. So head over there to watch the other part. And once again, thank you to Kendall for working with me. And I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, hopefully.